passed that on to me, and that I could have passed it on to my child. And it has happened in many cases.
Exactly.
So that it's not something that
Mental,
goes
don't have
away
to be
overnight,
physical.
just because the act is not going on as much as it was. And I dare say, I think we are still a bit in the throes of it. The effect is long-lasting.
James Cameron will never forget that summer night in 1930, when the mob was on its way to the Marion police station to see its brand of justice done. His friends Abe and Tom quickly met with their misfortune. James still keeps this picture of the lynching.
When the mob broke into jail, they got Tommy out first down here. They didn't take him up to the courthouse square just a half block away and hang him on the trees. They half beat him to death, and then they drug him around here on the other side of the jail. They hung Abe right there. Then they went back to the jail window where they hung Tommy, and they stripped the clothes off of him for souvenirs. So they had to use the robes of the Klan to cover him up. And then they drug him up there and hung him alongside of Abe, see it? And then they came back to get me. We want Cameron, we want Cameron, we want Cameron. And I thought I would die. I felt like I was in a rubber suit and ice was packed all around me. I just felt clammy and cold, and I moved about like a man in a slow motion picture, you know, just sluggish. They came back up into the jail. They opened the jail. They said, Cameron's in there. I said, if we don't get him, we're going to let you every goddamn one of you niggas. And when he said that, half of those blacks in there, not all of them, half of them, fell down on the hands and knees and started crawling around like trained animals. And they were crying and saying, Mr. White folks, please don't hang us. We ain't nothing but a bunch of poor niggas in there for train riding. That boy in any honesty ain't. And then they were saying, Lord, have mercy. This goes on for about 5 minutes.
Outside the jail, an excited, bloodthirsty mob waited for the cruel event to proceed. They were ready and willing to lynch the innocent 16-year-old James Cameron.
And they closed in on me and they started beating me. They beat me in my cell block down to the first floor and out into the street. And the uniformed policeman was helping the monitored Klansmen clear the path from the jail up to the courthouse square just a half a block away so they could hang me between Tom and Abe, see? And we get up to the tree and they put the rope around my neck and they throw the end of the rope over the tree. They're getting ready to draw me up. And I prayed to God, I said, Lord, have mercy and forgive me my sins. And then a voice from heaven came out. And that voice said, take this boy back. He had nothing to do with any killing or raping. And then all of a sudden, everything got deathly quiet. You could hear a pin drop. And they took that rope off my neck and they allowed me to stumble and stagger back to the jail, which was just a half a block away.
James was miraculously saved from the white mob in Marion, Indiana. The sheriff suspected that Cameron was innocent and saved his life. Many hundred lynchings later, in Jasper, Texas, 1998, it happened again. A small mob of whites took the law into their own hands. It was Eastern Texas, a haven for white power extremists, where the Ku Klux Klan still wields power.
Why these Negroes came here to be offended, I don't know. I've always wondered that, why they go out of their way to come to a white area rally to be offended.
The case brought a landmark decision. The Texas jury, for the first time, sentenced white men to die for the killing of a black man. The prosecutor of the case doesn't believe that this lynching will be the last in the U.S.
No, it's not over.
Yeah, they still
This
hanging.
is
They still hanging.
It occurs with far less frequency than it
had
did
to
in
take the
first
tires
half
off
of the
because the
century.
tires had all the
It's
blood
very
on
rare
it.
thing,
Yeah.
but it's not over. It still happens.
Shrapnels of it.
When I went
Boom,
to
all
high
kind of
school
shit.
here in Jasper, we were segregated. There were no blacks in my high school. Across the street from this
So I mean, they
courthouse
drove
was the
straight,
theater.
they made a U-turn
They
track
had
and went the other way.
the colored
That went to the
section
tires off.
in the
Had
balcony,
the man blood all
and
on
the white
us.
section downstairs. I recall an old doctor's office across the street, and it had the colored waiting room and the white waiting room, and that was as late as the mid-1970s.
In 1930, Cameron was sentenced to 21 years imprisonment for crimes he never committed. He served 5 years. The Jasper case doesn't surprise him. The problem still exists, but on a much smaller scale. At home in Wisconsin, Cameron has opened a museum where the cruelties against blacks over the years are displayed.
This is the Holocaust, history of slavery.
For sure.
That's our Holocaust. Yes, just like the Jewish Holocaust. I got this idea for my museum when I was traveling over in Israel, following the path of Christ. I went in the Jewish Holocaust Museum, the Yad Vashem, and that just floored me. You walk in that museum and you see the wall murals. It looked like you're walking into the building itself. You see the ovens, the gas chambers, the bodies stacked up like cordwood. You see the pits dug out with bodies in them. You see people standing on the edge of the pit ready to be mowed down by machine guns so they can fall down in there with the rest of them. And it just tears your heart out. And when I came out of there, I told my wife, I said, honey, we need a museum like this in America to show what has happened to black people and freedom-loving white people who have been trying to help us ever since we've been in this country. And this is it right here in Milwaukee.
Oh man, I'd like to visit that.
All right, I'm gonna go ahead and stop it right there. Now, shouts out to the brother. As you can see, you know, when he told his story, he endured a lot of chaos that he didn't even ask for. Now, mind you, you had children at these lynchings. You had women at these lynchings. Now, we have to ask ourselves, what make a person want to have this thought process in their head? And like most people, you'll run to the Bible and say, oh, we're God's people, that's not God's people. Look here, this is one time where God ain't going to be implementing in none of this. And I'm going to tell you why. We're going to bring up something called, and by the way, they did a mural for the sister. They did a mural for her, and as you can see, here it is right here, but they did a mural for the sister who lost her life and her baby's life over some silliness because somebody murdered her husband with a false, illegal lynching.
That's crazy, man.
But she had to lose her life on it.
Hey, Mr. Freeman. Hey, thanks for joining us today, my friend.
Now, mind you, we're going to go back to this right here, okay? Because when you see right here where it says the Harrison Narcotic Act of 1914, we're going to peep into this, okay? It says it was an act of United States federal law which regulated the taxed the production and distribution of opiates and coca products, which means they okayed y'all to get high.
Yep.
Now, here's the bone crusher, okay? Here's the bone crusher. If people are being slaves or have to work on somebody's plantation, when do they have got time to do this? But
Whistle while you work?
who was doing it was a lot of middle class women.
While their husbands was out working.
Right. They were doing it. And they was enjoying it. Matter of fact, if you go back to the cowboy Wyatt Earp, the woman who he was kicking it with at first, she was hooked on morphine, drinking the bottle. But we're going to dig up some of these things in the 1800s. This is 1914, but we're going to go to the 1800s, baby. Okay, and pull up some logos. Now here it is, you see children, and it says cocaine toothache drop. And you wonder why you see these you wonder why you see kids here on the scene looking at this, cause their parents got them hooked on the cocaine.
Cause it's giving them to the children in their medicine medications.
Cause originally his original Coca-Cola, that's the cocaine that used to be in it.
And you see what it you see what it says right up on the Coca-Cola? It says it relieves exhaustion. Now, exhaustion can be tiredness. Because when someone says I'm exhausted, that means you're tired. So something that's going to relieve the exhaustion means it's going to give you some pep. It's going to make you move. It's going to give you a little groove in your stride. Hence the word Coca-Cola.
And not just that, King, but these different types of products they had out there. And you look at the logo, man.
And that's a pill box now.
You see what I'm saying?
That's a pill box.
But it's called MIDI. Look at the logo. It's a rising sun, man. How you gonna sit here and put the logo of the ancient world on this thing, and then want to sit here and pump the drug in?
And there's so many products that carry that same logo to this day.
And like I told you before, the ancient culture world, there were certain groups that was into that cocaine in South America. The Champa tribe, they was knee deep into the opium in South Asia. Okay? So you have to understand, why are these people acting so brutal towards us? Because look what they taking and putting in their body. You see what I'm saying? Look at 45% alcohol, and it has cocaine in it. Come on, man.
And ether.
And ether.
Which cocaine is, they cook the cocaine up with the ether, okay? It's an alkaloid, okay? And it combines it. I might be talking too much, but
nah, but you're right. You're right. That's chemistry.
Yeah.
But who would know about growing the plant unless somebody from the ancient world was growing the plant? You see what I'm saying?
They got that formula.
So, you know, here it is again, the old cowboy era days, poison, 100 tablets, and what you see right here.
Heron.
Come on, man. These people are sitting here on
Hydroxychloride. So come on, man.
These people are on pure drugs.
And it tells you, it says poison. So I guess if you can OD on this stuff, you know.
Here's another one. This one has alcohol, cannabis, and a little other formalities in there like morphia and sulfur. So with that being said, man, these people had these other group of people on that stuff. Now, who will sit here and benefit from this, and why is the federal law trying to regulate it as far as taxing people who produce it and who distribute it? You letting your citizens get put on drugs, but here's the act right here. Okaying it. The Harrison Narcotic Act of 1914. Okayed it. Okayed it. And you wonder around this time, who else was looking silly like this? Asia, with the sick man of Asia, when Great Britain robbed them of all their treasures and had them people on opium. Same thing. Same thing. So, I mean, you know, you wonder why somebody who would have this type of brutality and then want to bring kids there smiling and everything, hee hee ha ha, it's fun, it's funny. No, it ain't. No, it ain't. As a matter of fact, the sad thing about these people who want to bring their kids to, you know, all this stuff here and everything, this middle class, and you can see they're middle class, they're not dressed like hobos. Here's another one. You can see they ain't got no rags on them, okay? They ain't catching the train from place to place. This is a middle class district. But the middle class was on cocaine. They was on heroin.
Watching people getting hung, lynched. It's like, and dare I say, it's like when some of us niggas go to the club to a point. You know, we gonna smoke us one, we gonna get on us a little drink before we get out.
But somebody will pop that pill.
And then you got some people out there who pop them beans. You know what I'm saying? Half a bean on the scene, if you know what I mean. One time for Kodak Black.
See, and that's what I mean, you know. Here's another heroin label, you know, for another company that was making money. And this is Bayer. Clear as day, you see it right there, B-A-Y-E-R. Man, that's the headache pill you used to take in the 80s and 90s.
And still take it to this day.
And that got opium in it, heroin in it too.
And they tell you, when the doctor tell you, when you get on in an aspirin regimen, it's connected to your heart. So they even say, do not take your aspirin regimen until you consult with a doctor, because see, that's a buildup of a certain element, and it produces a lot of chemicals within the heart, and it's supposed to keep the heart from going out of whack, kind of keep it like, you know, on that level of, you know, hey, you all right today, or you are not right all day, but who knows. And aspirin is dangerous. Aspirin is poison. It can kill you.
Yeah.
It
Oh
can.
yes. Oh yes.
It can kill your ass.
Now another thing too. Here's an imagery of the Asians during the early 1900s, and they also had some drawings of this in the 1800s when the Asian man came over here to help build a railroad. You see. Now, peep game. The Asian had to, you know, get their little money up while they're making this railroad money and getting their hustle on. And you know, next thing you know, one of the other groups out there tamper with that thing, now it becomes a bigger issue. But long story short, after the Asians were dealing with it, the middle class had it too. And again, who you see out here in the middle of the lynching? Middle class. Brothers wearing top hats out here and every damn thing, man. You see? People dressed looking sharp. You see? So, I mean, you know, at the end of the day, if you have the proper clothes in situations like this,